Welcome to the Meadowlands Chamber of Commerce Emerging Leaders Podcast, aimed at helping you excel and take your professional career to the next level. Sponsored by Henry Kaminski Jr. and www.uniquedesigns.net. Now, let's get into today's show.
Hey, welcome everyone back to another episode of the Emerging Leaders Podcast. This is episode number 2, guys. Super excited to be here. I have my man Fernando Valencia with me once again with a amazing special guest by the name of Marc Demetriou. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
So you are quite the mortgage expert, aren't you?
It's been a little bit of a journey, 14 years almost now at this point, doing a lot of good things, helping a lot of people. I like to be an expert, whatever I do in life. And so the term mortgage expert fits well.
That's awesome. So listen, for those folks that have no idea who Marc is, let's open up the backstory to how you got started and how did you become the success that you are today, my friend?
Thank you very much. So, listen, we all start out, most of us go to college, we come out, we want to get ahead and start making money, right? And excel in our careers. So just to start right from the beginning, really be honest with you, when you're starting out in that career, you take 100 people that are starting the same job on the same day. Who's going to excel in life? Who's going to get ahead? Who's going to get that bonus? Who's going to move through the ranks? Whenever I tell people, and the hundreds I've coached and the hundreds I've taught and trained in my sales professions, it's always about going that extra yard. Everybody can be average. You want to excel in life. You want to put more in. You want to be giving to the charities. You want to do Red Cross things. Ask your companies what other things you do outside the company. Habitat for Humanity. What other charitable organizations? What can I do to excel? Is there any courses I could take to be an expert in this field? If you're asking and trying to get ahead, you will get ahead. You'll excel. You'll shine. That's some of the simple early things when you come out of the gate. Because you want to come in 9 and leave at 5. Where are you going to go with that? You want to be able to make a contribution, adding value, be a team player, help others when you see they're having a hard time, work through lunch sometimes, come in early. These are simple things to excel. And it's very interesting, very easy, very easy.
It's funny. Easy. Easy's a very humbling word. I know to be considered a mortgage expert, that takes a lot of what people say playing in the dirt. Gary Vaynerchuk, they always say, it's a ride. It's a up and down. Being an entrepreneur, you wake up one moment, you're happy, and the next moment you're like, why am I doing this? And you see and then at the end of the day, you're like, all right, I'm going to wake up, do it all over again. I always love hearing, what we call here at the Meadowlands podcast is the war stories. To the journey from starting to becoming this mortgage expert. If I was getting into mortgages right now, in my early 20s, right now in 2019, what would you advise us to do? From a perspective of a mortgage expert?
Right, that's a great question. So thank you. So basically, when people come out of the gate running, everyone wants to make money quick. They think, let's make money. How do I get it done quickly? And and that's really the biggest problem people have. You got to plant the seeds. You got to take the time. You got to have a 2-year horizon. Anybody I've ever trained in this business, I say you got to have a 2-year horizon. Can you make it 2 years, first of all, financially? Because you got to be able to put yourself through a lot of training, a lot of programs, and build your network. But to get right to the point, the one day at a time approach, meeting the right contacts, whether it's realtors or attorneys or accountants or finance planners or bankers, or these are the areas where you can be an asset and a resource to these people. As an expert in the field, if you feel you're an expert and you're someone that you can add value to their lives and their clients' lives, then you're a resource. And when you think of that in your mindset, I am a valuable asset for somebody that wants to get a mortgage done for their client or for themselves. So when you go in with that approach, when you're meeting all these people, you let them know, I want to be a resource for you. I want to help you and your clients. So the message here is it's one day at a time. You make your hit list of people that you think could benefit from your services, and you go out there one at a time, and you have opportunity to make it work or not each time you meet with them. So that's how I built this business 14 years ago almost. It's just one day at a time, but just continuing to do that. And I haven't stopped the small stuff. Sponsoring events, tabletops, breakfast, lunch, dinners. You have to put it together. Like Gary says, and all these other great honchos on stage, you got to work the plan and work the plan and work the plan.
I recently was reading, I'm a huge avid reader, and I read something from Jim Rohn recently that said, see, I like the OGs. I like the original gangsters of personal development, right? Yes. So the Jim Rohns, the Les Browns, like those guys, right? And one of the things that he had mentioned was that you want to deliver substance over image. I think a lot of times folks get caught up that are just, whether you're an entrepreneur or coming up in the corporate, ladder, image is everything, image is everything, image is everything. But they forget about that substance, right? When I talk with my clients, I always say, like, you don't want to be that hot guy or hot gal that you take out on a date that has no personality whatsoever, right? You want to have that substance. And I feel like, and just from the 8 minutes that we've been talking thus far, there's a lot of substance that comes from one of your role models and mentors in your life, which you just wrote a book about. So I want to get into that a little bit and talk about how this book came about and how this has been such a huge motivating force for you in your entrepreneurial career.
Right. Thank you. So that's a good point to get into at this juncture. So my grandfather was a tremendous mentor to me in my life. I wrote a book basically about him and what he's taught me and the wisdom. The name of the book is Lessons from My Grandfather, Wisdom for Success in Business and Life. And the reason for writing it was because I was very blessed in life, and I had an advantage in life because of the mentor that I had, a tremendous mentor that came here with nothing at 20 actually is when he finally got here, and retired 60 millionaire and lived to 97. He lived such a full life, but he was a man of wisdom and character and unbelievable traits you just can't make up. So being advantaged in life, I felt it was just too crazy to let him pass away without having shared that with the world. So 10 years after he passed, I started just really getting ideas of putting this on paper. And, last January published a book basically about him and his story, his wisdom that helped me succeed in life. And my goal is to give it to others now, let them understand the trials and tribulations, but just really the mindset, the idea of the attitude is everything is one of my favorite quotes from the book. There's so many good things in the book, and not to get into that, but, you just look at the foundation as a human being, what your character's about. Are you there to help others? It's all about, making money, or help others to get where you want to be in life. Is it about working hard to do the best job you can, be an expert at what you do? I've never worried about making money in my life. Money just comes. If you're an expert and have passion for what you do, and people see that you're there to help them, you excel in life. I can look back, there's one simple thing I can say or one message. That's it.
So it's that whole Meadowlands mantra. It's being a giver and not a taker.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can have strategic alliances with people, and not to dig into too much of networking, but one thing's a strategic alliance where, we're going to help each other. Let's look at this and say, we're going to give each other business. We're going to make it happen together. You give me, I give you. We're going to look at it together and really conquer as much as we can, but in a good light. And then there's other people you're just a resource for. I'm a resource to a lot of people. They just want to come to me, become an expert. But there's a difference. But I'm also always thinking about how I can help others, always referring out leads, help people get jobs, people going through a hard time, they call, they need an ear, they need someone to listen to their problems. I mean, this is just life. If you're absorbed with your own problems, you're never going to get ahead in life. You're never going to be that person people could look at and say, you're just a great guy, a great gal,
I really love this conversation because it's so true, and Jim says it all the time, it's really about being a giver, not a taker. And that's such an important culture here at the Meadowlands. And obviously, from hearing him speak about you and now being with you on this call so far, a lot of things are coming up to me. And one of the things, and you said you don't want to get into it, but I think it's important. You mentioned networking. There's reasons why we join chambers. There's reasons why different people join chambers. And it's something that we call relationship currency. And earlier in the conversation, you had mentioned how you still sponsor dinners, you still sponsor events, you connect with other, accountants, brokers, real estate agents, and you build all these different relationships. And it's really impacted your career. Coming in, new to the chamber, let's say fresh new, what would be some advice in finding, good partners, good vendors to work with? Right. Because I'm sure, there's a learning curve in working with a lot of them. And eventually when you become a mortgage expert like yourself, you tend to have an eye for, how you should communicate, what you should look for. So what would you advise someone young coming into the chamber on how to network?
Right. Well, listen, I think when you talk about the, experiences in general, when I was at the chamber, just starting out there in general, the people that I met, people I connected with, there's a mindset in the chamber, right? Just for example, if I wanted to meet everybody, I wanted to get to know people, get to know their character, get to know who are the good ones and not the bad ones, but who are the good ones and really great ones. So it's really a matter of knowing who they are. Can we align in life with our mindset? And then how can we help each other in business? And for me, it was always about the connection first, who I felt was really my type of person. But then it was about how can I help this person? And when I would sit with people, and I still to this day, when I sit with people even for breakfast or lunch, it's about a matter of How can I help you? Who are you trying to connect with in life? Who do you want to meet? Who helps you with your business? Even outside the business world, how can I help you in general? So it's always about how can I help you? And I can tell you with that question, stuff always comes out of it. So when you're always trying to help people, it's easy because you can ask anyone, how can I help you? And let them tell you everything they're looking for. So I think when you have that mindset of the helping side, but just knowing also that you're not going to get business from everybody that you talk to, but there's opportunities beyond that. And that's when you're building a chamber relationship, is because you see these people all the time. You'll get to know who you want to network with more than others, really. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, it's a relationship first mentality, and I see that coming through. So I'll share with you, when I first started becoming part of the chamber, I was very introverted. I was overwhelmed and sort of intimidated when I got to my first few chamber meetings, and because I saw everybody else sort of knowing each other, and it was very like, overwhelming. Like, how do I fit into this? So my question to you was like, how did you get through those initial meetings, and what was your experience when you first joined the chamber?
So, again, being at the chamber for me, I happen to be outgoing and I enjoy, meeting people and connecting with people. So for me, it's more of a chamber where you can see these people regularly. So it's always about getting to know the right people, but continuing to meet people as you go through it. So because you see them all the time, here's the point. You get to know people as time goes on. So you got to come to the events. You got to attend functions. So the more you go, the more you'll see and the more you connect with people. No different than high school or college. You tend to gravitate towards your crew, the football players, the band people, the people that are intelligent, the social club people. So you kind of gravitate towards that. That's the beauty of being actively involved. You'll continue to weed out where you want to be, who you associate with, mainly by your personalities. No different. As far as the book, and I want to talk about this because I talk a lot at the colleges and the high schools and the young professionals. I speak throughout the state now to young professionals, and I'm trying to give back and have them understand the mindset. These 20 to 40-year-olds are trying to get ahead in life and trying to advance. Like, what do they need to know? The power in the message of the book is truly, you take an individual like my grandfather, left home at 16 years old with nothing in life, not a dollar in his pocket, but said, parents, and he left, by the way, in the middle of the night without even telling his parents. But he told his dad when he stopped at the doctor to talk to him about why he was leaving. But the mindset was, I don't want to be on this island poor and stay here. I want to be something in life and make something of myself. I'm going to venture out at 16 by myself and take on life. And at that day, he decided, I'd rather die trying than stay here. And that's more powerful in life than you could possibly imagine. People don't kind of comprehend that. So my whole life, I've always taken it and said, if this man did this and came here ultimately 20 and shined shoes and was on food lines and retired 60 millionaire and everything in between, which is amazing, how dare me fail in life? How dare me not help others? How dare me not work hard to be an expert at what I do and be the best person I could be in life? And that mindset and this book and the message in the book that's the power of it. And that's why I wrote it, to have people understand, you could take on life any way you want. You have 24 hours in a day. So decide how you want to use them, who you want to help, what you want to do, what do you want to be in life? People are not happy with their lives at certain parts and certain points. You got to change each part one by one, bucket by bucket. Look yourself in the mirror and look at what you're doing in life and say, is this where I want to be in life? So am I going to be a better person? So I can go on a tangent with this, but the message here is really deep and is powerful. And people get so lost in the woods and confused about money and what's power. Stop chasing other people's dreams. Be who you are, not who you're not. You know what I'm saying? Be who you are, and that's powerful.
So there's a couple questions here. I mean, you just dropped the bomb. so I'm sitting here. We got to pick up the pieces here. So what happens when you're struggling or you didn't get a outcome the way you wanted it to be, and so how do you navigate through? What's the word I'm looking for? Fernando, maybe help me out. How do you get through your trials and tribulations? How do you get back up?
It's funny because I've been blessed with a lot of radio and podcasts from the book mainly for last year, but being on them, I should say. But I got to be honest with you, I don't really, as crazy as it sounds, I think my grandfather just drilled this on my head, because you got to remember 37 years of his life when he was retired, he was with me all the time. Like, he lived basically with us and near us, and this man of wisdom constantly in my head and cutting out articles and giving me information to read and nonstop. So I can tell you, I'm kind of not down usually. We've all had difficulties in life, don't get me wrong, but I kind of keep forging forward and I'm looking forward and look at those dreams and goals and where I want to be. If you have them always in front of you, things will happen. There'll be tragedies. There'll be difficulties. There'll be setbacks. There'll be hardships. That's life. That's called life. And when you realize that and say, where do I want to be in life? Where do I want to get? You keep moving forward. So I can tell you, I've been blessed with, just having that mindset to keep moving forward. I also think it's very important. The negativity in your brain, what between your ears, that brain of yours, any negativity or I should have done this, or I wish I would have changed my life there, or I'm so upset about that. Just move forward. Don't allow your brain to be consumed with negativity. It eats you up. So there's a couple messages in here, and that's kind of what keeps me going. I kind of keep looking forward. What needs to get done, what needs to get accomplished. So it's all good stuff, but this is really the mindset. That's how I keep going.
You're really striking so many chords, because everyone on this call is really, I believe, has a certain, I would say, borderline obsession with personal development, really understanding that mindset, priming it, making it work for us, because we can go any route at any given time. One thing that struck to me when you were talking about, your grandfather in your beginning of the story is, he was by himself. He was by himself, and he did this, that, and this. And what a lot of people, don't talk about is, that feeling, as an entrepreneur, whether you're working in a corporate environment or whether you're starting something or whether you're leaving your family for the potential of a better legacy in the future, is that feeling of being alone. So how do you battle, that thought, that mindset when you're like, man, I'm here, I'm in the gutter, I'm working it, I have this idea, I have this dream. Not a lot of people believe in you. And worst of all, there's a lot of people telling you it's not going to work. That's usually how it starts at the beginning. How do you battle that? How do you condition yourself to, as you mentioned, keep moving forward? Are there habits, or what do you do to strengthen that muscle?
Yeah, so I mean, again, my grandfather's a whole nother, the fear factor of leaving. He basically, that journey, a 2-week journey to Greece in a vessel, basically he was feeding animals to get a free ride there. That's, that fear every day, saying, what did I do here? What did I get myself into? But again, he never stopped. So with me in general, again, I'm going to go back to the mindset. If you look at where you need to be in life, you can map out everything. There's so much material on the web that we have now available to us that my grandfather had in 1920. Okay. So what I tell people in life, I have a constant plan. My head is mapped out. I have written out plans. I mean, I'm not a big person on 60-page business plans, but if you sat at my desk, you'd see, plan of action for personal stuff, plan of action for business stuff, plan of action for other miscellaneous things. Like, I'm a planner. I'm a doer. I write things out and I attack the plan. I check off the list. So if there's one itty bitty comment I can give you on this podcast here, and some information to people out there, you need to be organized. You need to be efficient, and you need to be a planner in a good way. You got to have things documented where you want to be in life, because if you set the objections of where you want to go, what you need to do, you can map out any business plan to be successful in life. Just map it out and just start attacking it. So for me in general, it's always been the accomplishment. Something as simple as, honestly, I wanted to do 100 push-ups, hundreds of sit-ups every morning, just an extra 15 minutes in the morning, just why not? So for last year, I do that every single day now. Something I said, be a little good to have a little exercise in the morning if I don't go to the gym. So I do it every single day. I also meditate for 10 minutes in the morning. So these are things that I want to put in my life. But so everything you want to do, you can accomplish it. And one thing I'll tell you, we all start out somewhere. There's the stories of the mailroom people that went up to the CEOs of the company, right? And why'd that person get ahead? Because they're hungry. They were eager to learn. They put themselves out there. They asked for raises. They asked for jobs. They asked how I could help. They wanted to school themselves and become an expert. So I can go on for an hour about this topic, but this is the message here. Where you want to be in life. You want to work 9 to 5? That's great. Go ahead and do that. That's average. Everybody can be average. It's very easy. What do you want to do to excel? What are you doing to learn, to help others, to be out there, or networking and be involved and be on boards? And this is what you do. I was at the chamber, but guess what? Within 2 years, I think, if not less, I was on the board of directors, because I didn't want to just be a chamber member. I wanted to get involved. I wanted to move up the ranks. That's how I do things in life. That's another message for people. Don't just sit back and get involved or be involved. Move in, get it done. Anything I've ever been involved in, I moved up to the board. That's what I do. So this is, again, not just about me. This is the constant push of what value you could bring. And it wasn't about just being on the board. I like to bring value to organizations or charities.
A couple of things I want to paraphrase here. You said you make some really valid points. One is, you got to design your destination.
Right.
Like, nobody would jump in the car and just drive around town aimlessly.
Right.
So don't do it with your life, and don't do it with your business, and don't do it with your career.
Right.
So designing that destination, and then asking that multi-million-dollar question to yourself is, what do I have to become to achieve what I want.
Right.
And I think you've nailed that. And I think that's where I'm seeing the successes transpire in your life. And I'm seeing how Fernando is just exploding his career in his early 20s. Man, Fernando, I wish I had the guidance and that motivation and that discipline when I was 24. All I cared about when I was 24 was making money, going out and like clubbing it up. And, I don't regret any of that because it made me realize that like I had to go through that, and I had to lose all of that new money when I first got into it, and I started making some serious bucks. I had to lose all of that to be the mentor that I am to so many people nowadays. So now I have a story to tell, right? And so I think we all have that backstory that drives us and motivates us, and those experiences, like you mentioned, you have a mindset of lesson learned versus I'm a victim or poor me. And I honest to God, 98% of it is mindset, in my opinion, and my belief, and 2% is execution. If you get this mindset right, I think anything's possible.
Yeah, the power of your brain. I think it's great. Right on. I mean, everything you're saying is great. I mean, this is the message you want to put out there. People could be anything you want in life. And you touched on the word success also. I will tell you that having a lot of money is not being successful. The word successful to me is, what do you want out of life? What is success for you? It's different for everybody. Some people want a white picket fence with a house and a dog and 3 kids and work 9 to 5, and that's successful to them, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Other people want to achieve for greatness in planes and boats, and that's fine, but to chase your own dreams, not someone else's. Again, like I said before. So you got to establish what's successful and what makes you understand what's success to you. So it's not about money. In fact, my grandfather spoke to me and taught me very heavily. You want to live below your means, because you never then get caught up in the rat race. If you're living below your means, you're always able to be comfortable and enjoy your life. And there's a big message in there. That's how I've always lived my life. And I try to tell people that. So as far as like just in general, like motivation in general, you think about what motivates people. Is it making money? Is it being successful? Is it connecting people? I can say this openly. I'm motivated by life. And I know that's crazy to say, but I am motivated by life. Life is a tremendous journey, and having good people around you, helping people along the way, enjoying good dinners, enjoying good company. If you have kids, being a great father or a great spouse, if you're married or not, but it's about life. And every day on this earth, if you look at how am I making this place a better place? How am I making people's lives around me better? How am I helping people in my business? Am I being the best advisor I could be to my clients? So when you look at the simplicity of life, and am I getting everything out of it, but giving back as well? It's beautiful. I mean, that's all I can say. It's great, in that way. That motivates me.
I love how you mentioned life, and actually, I don't think it's crazy at all. To me, it makes complete sense. One of my obsessions is a story called The Hero's Journey, and it's kind of become something that I've implemented in everything in my life. And actually, at our company, we created our own version of that. It's called The Guru's Journey. It's the process of discovering yourself, why you exist and who you want to serve and how you're going to do that. And one of the things that you really mentioned that struck a chord in that journey is, the process of creating a community. I know we touched on it before. And one of the things that you highlighted, I think is really important, especially, for new members or, more mature members that want to figure out how to, get more out of just anything, specifically a chamber, was you said, get involved. Anything I did, I was in the board. That's just what I do. And it's an attestament to, Henry, and what Jim has been able to create, because Jim has been able to motivate someone like Henry and someone like myself to get more involved and want to be on this podcast and want to do more for the emerging leaders and want to forward the missions of the chamber. How do you implement that? How do you teach someone that? And I'm specifically talking to the millennials.
Right.
We just don't do that. We leave really fast. We're not interested. We could just do it through the DM. And luckily I've had, as Henry mentioned, some great mentors in my life, Henry and Jim being 2 of them right here, is you got to be involved. You got to go all in. How can you get that across to someone? Because I'm trying to get it across to as many people as possible. Right.
There's a different mindset. I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I have spoken at, I'm continuing to speak at colleges and high schools and these organizations, CPA law firms, some banks, to young professionals, to have them understand the mindset of, it's not just social media, it's just not texting, it's just not, hey, I want to get a raise, I want to make $1 million a year, and how do I get there quickly? they have to kind of take a step back and realize they're a different generation than my grandfather's generation, my parents, myself. They kind of got to take a step back. And that's why this book, I'd be honest with you, there's a big message in this book to get rooted in people's understanding of with the hardships and the difficulties and what it takes to get ahead. But the message for people in general is the connections in life. They got to understand the power of the relationships. I'm a testament to that. I was brought up on it's who you know, not what you know. Be good in school and get a degree in education, but it's about who you know, who you can help. And here's the difference. How many people I've helped in my life get jobs or get connected or help them with problems or help them with getting a mortgage or any business I've been in. I've excelled and expert in that space, so I help them with what they're looking to do. So the message for you, not to go on a tangent, is these younger people have to understand that the relationships they're building each day is going to help grow their career and help grow other people's careers, going to make friendships. So the social media part of it, or want to do things quickly, they got to take a step back and realize the value of relationships and the value of meeting new people. And that's the problem I think that they have. It's all about social media, and they're not really connecting. You don't see a lot of younger people at a lot of these networking events or cocktail parties or just events in general, even charitable events sometimes. So I think that's the message, to kind of tool them back and have them understand there's people like us on this podcast that are doing it the right way. And they have to understand that they have to get into it and build these relationships.
I'm blown away. A couple of things here. You mentioned it's all about who you know. And I'm a firm believer of that. And I want to take that a step further. It's also who can you help?
Yes.
And who can you help? I think when people say, oh, well, it's all about who you know, that mentality is like, okay, yeah, it's all about who you know that can help me excel. Like, how does that person help me get where I want to be? Right. Where I would challenge folks that are listening to flip that and say, who do I know that I can help, which could then further my mission and help at the same time. So one of the questions that we have for you is, what's the difference between connecting? Well, yeah, what's the difference between connecting online and actually shaking that person's hands, looking that person dead in the eyes when they're 2 feet away from you, and building that relationship from the physical standpoint?
Yeah, I love the breakfast and lunch meetings. I love to death, because I'll tell you what happens there. When you meet people at these networking events, the purpose of events in general, or chambers in general, is to connect with like-minded people, right? Like-minded people that you can then further that connection with. Let's get together for breakfast or lunch. And I tell people in networking opportunities, a good thing about chambers, you'll see people regularly over and over and over, and you can weed through who you really want to become closer with, right? So the purpose is to get the connection, and then from there, let's get together for breakfast or lunch, right? I will tell you, as much as people think, well, someone selling, business cards really isn't beneficial for me, or someone doing selling furniture is really not beneficial for me. But that's actually wrong, and that's being narrow-minded. For me, if it's someone that's like-minded, I feel the personality, that drive, that passion, I want to meet with them. I want to sit down with them. And when I sit down with them, it's, how can I help you? Who are you trying to meet? How can I help you in life in general? How can I expand your connections? How can I expand your life? The flip side of that is, I know without a doubt, for my business now particularly, I know who I'm looking to meet and who can refer me business. Family law attorneys, real estate attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, CPAs, financial planners, banks, realtors, I can go on and on, right? So the message is, it's not about how can they help me, how can I help them? Me, it's about that synergy, that passion, that like-minded person, that love for life. I live for that. It drives me crazy. I love to be around people like that. So that's a good thing. Now, I don't only meet with people like that, but you feel that. So the message here is, it's the connection first. It's the friendship. People want to do business with people they like and trust, right? It's simple as that. If you're likable and you have that gift in 30 seconds for people to say, I feel like I trust you. I feel like I can work with you. That's a beautiful gift in life. And if you don't have that, you better work on having that if you really want to be truly successful.
Man. Boom, 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 boom. Like, I'm sitting here. I'm just trying to deal with it. It's like, I want to be here. I can't even think of anything else. You're hitting so much. You hit on events, and before I really dive into the importance of events, is one thing you had mentioned with before is the differences in generations. I saw a meme once, and it really made me laugh, where it was like, my parents went through World War II, and you're worrying about not having Wi-Fi. That's like kind of the differences, and it's a whole different world. in generational thinking and an obsession of mine, like a deep obsession, is legacy.
Right.
And I feel legacy is in what your grandfather did and what you're doing. It's in the stories you leave behind because of the people you meet and the relationships you meet and all these different things that you do. And it's important to constantly be attending events, meeting people, shaking their hand, even if it starts on social media. It's something about being in person 2 feet away from them, building. These are the people that are going to be your legacy.
You can't see someone's personality over the web and the social media. You can't feel them. You can't feel their energy. You can't feel their honesty, their gregariousness, their personality. It's just, meeting over the web's fine, but you got to feel it. You got to be with them, right? The energy.
Yeah. Energy is influence. One of my mentors told me that once.
I love it.
That just,
and I want to touch on something also. We're going to wrap up soon here. I guess just be looking at the timing on this, is that, again, the message for me, and I want people to understand this, knowing my grandfather left home with nothing to say, I'm going to get ahead in life, and actually was able to die in his mind, could die trying to do this or stay here. Came to New York City, lived in an apartment with 6 other Greek men. He was a 7th, and slept on the bed one night a week, the other nights on the floor because they only had one bed in the place. Food lines, shining shoes, busboy. This man started from the ground and never stopped. You know what he said to me, and it's in my book too? He said, Mark, when I was shining shoes, I love the honor and the labor. I love doing a good job, knowing people are coming back to me because they liked the job I did. And they liked being there because I was fun and I was a funny person. They liked my personality and they knew I was doing a good job to serve them. And I didn't feel I was beneath them. And even when I made money in life, I was never above anybody. I was doing the job I was able to do, and I had honor in that. And to be able to work for the first time in my life, I love the honor. And that message to me is more powerful than you could possibly imagine. And taking that in life and knowing where he came from, and that's my gift. That's why I'm advantaged in life, because I have that book and that message. That's why I'm giving the book back to the world. But he was also an advantaged person. People say he was disadvantaged because he was poor and he left with nothing. He was an advantaged person because his mind. He was advantaged in life, and he never stopped and he got ahead because that's how he thought. He wasn't going to stop. And he never stopped sending money to his family back in Cyprus. He got ahead in life. He helped so many people come to this country and get them jobs. I can't even go on. So I'm blessed in life, and I'm charged from a young boy, charged because of him. So that's what a mentor can do. That's what wisdom could do. That's why people are yearning to hear Tony Robbins and Les Browns and all these people, because they get yearned, but they do very little with it. 90% do nothing with it. So you got to follow through. So I can speak about this for 4 hours, but
I love your energy, dude. I honest to God, love your energy. You got me pumped. It's a Monday. I'm ready to take on the world. Right. Fernando, you want to wrap this up, my man?
Yeah, man. Let's really hit it home. You mentioned Tony Robbins. I actually have the honor. We're going to go to Business Mastery, in a few days. So the importance of all these events, I'd love for you to bring this energy, your energy, and all that they're listening. We have an event coming up May 8th. We named it M-Cube, the Millennial Meadowlands Mastermind. It's on top of our Bergen Business Expo, one of the largest business expos here in New Jersey that the Meadowlands Chamber really puts together. We love your energy there. So please, my brother, be there with us. I'm sure everyone that's listening is going to want to meet you. And before they meet you, I'm sure they're going to want to find you. Where do they find you? What's your website? What's your Instagram? Give me a way to search you so that they can see, the type of attendance we're going to have May 8th at the Venetian Meadowlands Millennial Mastermind.
Thank you. I'll make sure I'm definitely there without a doubt. So that consider that done. Number one. Number two, yes. So my Instagram is at Marc Demetriou, real simple. My last name at MarcDemetriou. I have my website, actually it's marcdemetriou.com, same thing. And my Facebook's Marc Demetriou, and I have a Facebook for my book and for my mortgage business. So I'm all over the place. They type in my name, I'm everywhere.
From a branding standpoint, you're very consistent, my friend. I love that.
There you go. The book we bought on Amazon. You can buy the book on Amazon, and I have a website called grandfatherlessons.com as well for the book. So we went through that pretty quickly. But you guys are great. I love your energy. I love, again, like-minded people in life. If more people continue to think this way and think positive, move forward in life, they can be like-minded like us and just conquer the world and conquer others, So it's good stuff.
Fernando, take it home.
Man. So listen, want to shout out homeboy, host, Mr. Brand Doctor, the doctor himself, Unique Designs. Make sure to follow him as well. My name's Fernando Valencia. You can follow me at Mr. FJV, part of Guru Branding and Guru Events. See you next week. Tune in, subscribe, press the purple button, the red button, the green button, press a button and subscribe to us, follow us. We're going to be bringing in more people like Mark, and I'm excited to see you at our regular events. We love you guys. See you next week.
That's it, guys. So real quick, If you haven't written a written review yet on iTunes, I invite you to do that and encourage you to do that if you are liking the value and the message and the mission that we are trying to spread here at the Meadowlands Chamber and through the Emerging Leaders podcast. Drop that review, and we will fuel off of that and make sure that we're bringing you as much value as we possibly can. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will catch you next week on the next episode. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Meadowlands Chamber of Commerce Emerging Leaders podcast, sponsored by Henry Kaminski Jr. and www.uniquedesigns.net. Don't forget to subscribe and stay connected with us by visiting www.meadowlands.org.